Macros help save time and increase efficiency by eliminating a monotonous task. Some commonly performed tasks that could be created as a macro include adding or removing rows and columns, or copying and pasting data. Excel macros can be triggered using a shortcut, toolbar button, or an icon. Keep in mind that macros are not stored across the program. Instead, macros are stored within the workbook. This means that different workbooks may contain different macros depending on the types of tasks performed in each. To create a macro, the easiest way is to record it. With your workbook open, click in the cell in which you will start the action. It is important to always select the cell in which you will begin the action before you start recording. Click on the View tab and click on Macros. Here, if you're going to want to repeat the macro and run it relative to your position in the workbook, you'll want to choose Use Relative References. Once you've defined whether or not you're going to use relative references, then you'll click on Macros and choose Record Macro. Enter a name and description for the macro. Note, the name cannot include spaces. Then select the template or workbook in which you want to store the macro and click OK. Perform each step of the task to be recorded as the macro. Once you are done, to stop the recording, click the Macros arrow and choose Stop Recording. To run your macro, with the workbook open, click on the cell or range where the action needs to start. Click on the View tab and choose Macros and choose View Macros. Select the macro from the list and click Run. To modify a macro, you can click View tab, click on Macros, choose View Macros, select the macro, and click Edit. Note, in some cases you may want to re-record the macro instead of trying to edit it in this menu. In order to save this workbook with the macro, you'll need to choose Macro Enabled Workbook.